What's up, family? Get this video a big thumbs up if you get some value from this video. So we have husbands with an S at the end. Basically a couple sentenced to 100 years without parole, for sexually abuse when it comes to adopted children. And to add a little bit more context from what I found out, discovering and listening and hearing about this story before I actually start giving my thoughts on it, perspective and insight, and having a conversation with you guys, is they actually adopted these children from a Christian um, adoption center. Now, and I do believe, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, that the Christian adoption center should actually be sued as well due to the standard that they put themselves in regards of being a Christian adoption center in the first place. Because to be honest, Christians, and when it comes to a lot of people and when it comes to Christianity, and you guys can give me you guys thoughts on this down in the comments, is most Christians do not stand for the he, she, they, them type of pronouns type thing when it comes to the alphabet community. They more so stand on is woman is a woman and man is a man, and a woman is for a man and a man is for a woman, not same sex when it comes to relationships, and in this case romantic relationships, in which we're talking about the topic. However, it still doesn't absolve from the simple fact that no matter if it was a Christian adoption center, even though that was the adoption center they adopted these children from, these innocent, um, pure children or kids, but rather it was a Christian adoption center or not, the adoption center, if it wasn't Christian, I would still say it need to be sued, right? Because I feel as though they need to vet out more of the individuals. I don't know how, in which way, shape, or form, but they need to vet out more of the individuals. And when it comes to these children being adopted, and it's supposed to be a way of new life with a better opportunity, going to individuals who actually want them and care for them and have their best interests, just as if it was their biological child. But no further ado, family, let's get into the video, and I let off more of my thoughts, perspective, and insights. But make sure you get this video a big thumbs up. Let's go.
Police call it a house of horrors. Now live at 5, 2 Georgia men will spend the rest of their lives in prison after being convicted of adopting 2 young boys, then sexually abusing them. The 2 men from Walton County were just sentenced to 100 years without parole. The district attorney's office spoke on the horrific nature of the crimes, writing, quote, "Those involved with the investigation and prosecution of this case will never forget what they had to see and hear in the case." Police call it
Well, there you have it, folks. And you have to commend the first responders, right? The police officer and those who prosecute these cases. I mean, I can imagine facing such things regularly and basically desensitizing yourself to not be sensitive to these things, to logically be able to approach them, to prosecute them in the first place. I just can't personally, but knowing that some of the worst crimes are against children makes it 10 times more awful and 10 times worse. And you know what else puzzles me is, why isn't this story getting more attention or visibility more than ever? And we face endless distractions in society with constant events unfolding and rarely notice much. Visibility often comes from outspoken individuals or those in the alphabet community. Maybe it's just me, but some content creators try to highlight this issue, which I came across, and watch them give their thoughts on it. But no major platforms are discussing, showcasing, or engaging in this conversation, like legacy media outlets or platforms or networks. So to say, legacy media networks, let's say that. They're not talking about it. And it almost feels like things are censored. But let's explore this, for instance, because I pulled up Fox covering this whole thing, and I actually wanted to take a deep dive into the article to have a conversation. And I want to read the details of the article so then I can preface it, so I can ask you guys a question in the conclusion of this video, and you guys give me your thoughts down in the comments. So The article goes on to say, and this is from Fox News, husbands who abuse adopting sons in quote unquote house of horrors slapped with massive prison sentences. Georgia couple William and Zachary Zulak recorded and shared the sexual abuse inflicted on their two adopted sons with others. Scroll down. A Georgia couple that pleaded guilty in August to sexually abusing their two adopted sons will now spend 100 years in prison without the possibility of parole, according to the Elko-V Judicial Circuit District Attorney's Office. William Zolak pleaded guilty to 6 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of incest, and 2 counts of sexual exploitation of children. His husband, Zachary Zulak, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of aggravated sodomy, 3 counts of aggravated child molestation, 2 counts of incest, 2 counts of sodomy, 3 counts of sexual exploitation, and it goes on and on and on, right? And 2 counts of pandering to a person under 18. So it goes on to say, quote unquote, those involved with the investigation and prosecution of this case will never forget what they have seen and hear in this case. District Attorney Randy McGinley said in a Monday statement, quote unquote, these two defendants truly created a house of horrors, and put their extremely dark desires above everyone and everything else. However, the debt of the defendants, the privity, which is as deep as it gets, is no greater than resolve of those who fought for justice and the strength of the victims in this case. McGinley said the resolve of the 2 young victims who were in 3rd and 4th grade at the time of Zulak's arrest over the last 2 years is truly inspiring. These are the 2 individuals, William and Zachary Zulak. The Zulaks initially came under investigation after Georgia authorities recovered a cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Expoliated Children reporting suspected homemade child sexual abuse material uploaded to a Google account with an IP address in Walton County. Upon further investigation, deputies with the Walton County Sheriff's Office learned that the Zulaks lived with the victims who appeared in a CSAM. In this case, the child sexual abuse material. Authorities interviewed the Zulaks on July 22nd, 2022, and they both admitted to sexually abusing their adopted sons over a period of time, according to the DA's office. These are these 2 dressed up at a wedding. Investigators later collected electronic evidence, including surveillance cameras from inside the house, showing multiple instances of the defendants, quote unquote, committing sexual abuse in different parts of the house. The district attorney's office said in Monday press release, other electronic evidence included cell phones containing graphic images, videos, text messages, and social media messages. And these are these 2 dressed up, standing at a wedding. And it says, quote unquote, I am grateful for the hard work of so many to obtain an appropriate outcome in this case, McGinley said. The hard work of law enforcement to put an end to abuse suffered by the victims in this resolution will help the victims continue their process of healing. In my opinion, they will never heal, like never. Possibly or most likely suffer PTSD, and they'll never forget it. It's ingrained in their, basically, a memory in their life they'll never forget. Let's continue. William and Zachary Zulak will now spend 100 years in prison without parole. This all but guarantees that the victims will not have to worry as they grow older about their abusers being free. McGinley further stressed the importance of adopting children in need, but added that anyone, quote unquote, who does so and then abuses those children deserves extremely harsh consequences and decades in prison. And there go these 2 again, dressed up at the wedding. Now, the way I'm looking at it, right, is they're likely going to be headed to prison, and they won't even mind because it's just who they are and the way they are basically desensitized to the very thing that they've done, which is very a heinous crime and very cruel. You know what I mean? So they're going on permanent vacation funded by taxpayers, in my view, and these people should face capital punishment. Some people say it, some people don't think they should face capital punishment. But that's where my question comes in to you guys, the viewers who's watching this video. And if you watch the video this long, I appreciate you for rocking with me. But these two demons never stopped and said, hey, what are you doing? We must protect the children. No. They both took part, set up the camera, and did it. They had no safe place. They had no possibility of communicating with an adult and saying, hey, this is what's happening to me. This is what's happening in my household. Please come save me. None of that. There was no possibility of it. And kids was just at home going through it. Just envision that, unfortunately. It's even difficult to talk about because it's just cruel. But this is one of the most heinous things that I'm actually conversating about. And I want to ask you guys a question because Biden, as we know, President Joe Biden, who's currently still in office, commuted the sentences of all but 3 people on death row. And my question is the thought about capital punishment, in simple words, the death penalty. Biden was under fire for it. And one of the family members of a woman that was killed needlessly, and she was shot 3 times in a bank robbery or something like that. And the family had tried to reach out to the Biden administration to get their opinion, to give them their opinion on whether these people possibly was going to get commuted. They wanted a meeting with the White House because their mother has gotten shot, unfortunately, by a heinous crime from a bank robber. And it is a whole video that came out with the 2 daughters standing next to the father. The father was in the middle. And basically the White House refused to meet with these victims and unfortunately lost a loved one. And now Joe Biden is basically letting free this criminal. And then out of nowhere, after he refused to meet with the family, which is in this case the daughters and the husband or widow husband, at the refusal of meeting with them, Joe Biden just commuted the sentences of 37 or 34 people, which led to the criticism of my question to you guys is, do you guys believe that capital punishment still should stand? Do you guys believe that capital punishment is a joke now that we got Joe Biden basically commuting individuals that basically had the death penalty and was supposed to be held amongst capital punishment when it came to the heinous crimes that they committed, and now they're free? So that's my question to you guys. Do you guys believe that the priority of capital punishment is even prioritized, or is it seen as a joke now? Do you guys believe that capital punishment should still stand? I believe in some cases, possibly, depending on a crime by crime basis, capital punishment should still stand. But at the end of the day, who am I? The justice system will determine that. However, I don't think it should be totally off the table. And I'm going to just leave it there on that note. And I feel as though if capital punishment is still going to be on the table, it should be taken seriously and prioritized, upheld to the utmost standard, and not just commuting people who commit heinous crimes and they have been basically concluded and went through the whole justice system for the verdict to be capital punishment. And then you have a president, which is in this case the leader of our country, the United States, basically saying, no, free them. I'm going to leave it there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. My apologies for the tongue twister earlier with the reading. But on that note, family, peace.